What do you do?
It's really about building a meaningful online presence, one that helps you to connect with the people that you want to connect with, that the people that really need your services or need that special thing that you bring into the world. And the tools that I use to do this are social media, public relations, content development and marketing. And the one thing that most people miss in this entire thing, which is listening online.
So do you think that that's like the biggest mistake that someone makes, or what do you mean by that?
I think the biggest mistake that people make with creating an online presence for themselves is they don't include themselves. They think that they can hand the entire thing off to somebody else to do. And even if you can afford to do that, and you can have somebody managing these moving parts for you, um, you still need to be part of it because it's your voice and it's your virtual representation. And somebody else could be you up to a point, and then you need to be present in your own conversations. And the thing that I see people, um, before I start working with them, missing out on the most, and then after I work with them, they have that aha moment of like, I didn't know what I didn't know, is that the intelligence that you can find,
Mm.
that when you look through this with your own lens, with all of the things that are in your mind that you might not have shared with anybody, that might not have even moved to the front of your mind, um, you're just missing it. There's people say all kinds of things online. And if you have somebody else doing that research for you, they might not put the pieces together the same way that you will, because you've not shared everything that you've got going on in your mind. Or looking through the lens, everybody's got a different lens, and it's made up of your relationships, your experiences, just your interactions, and everybody's cluster of that is different. So if you have somebody doing this for you, you could be looking at the same exact thing, but you're going to see two very different things.
That sounds like, figuring out your zone of genius, right?
Yeah.
Which actually leads me to the next question is, what do you think is your zone of genius?
I can see things that people don't see.
Like what? Give me an example of that.
So I worked with a nonprofit that worked with, it was a mental health agency for children. And they were paying a research company tens of thousands of dollars to create this research study that represented their body of work over 45 years. And what they wanted to do was tie the work that they're doing currently to the results that they've had over the last 45 years. I found a study that was done 20 years ago by Kaiser Permanente and the CDC, which tied directly to all the work that they were doing. So they were able to change the project around, change the budget with the research company, and they didn't have to do all of that work,
And spend all that money.
spend all that money, and they were able to kind of step into an existing conversation that was very high level. And through that, they received funding, they received, speaking opportunities opened up for the CEO. She was on CBS News, and she just got into this trending conversation about childhood trauma.
So if your zone of genius is seeing what other people can't see, how do you apply that to your clients and in a unique way? Like what do you do specifically in your business that really um, helps them to really understand and see those things?
Well, I help build the plan for them. So I do the research and I start to find these things for them. The other thing that I do is I think I ask questions differently up front than most people. In basically what I'm doing is social media with other things attached onto it, but it's all online marketing. And most people will focus on traditional demographics, and I take it a step further. And I want to know why my clients are passionate about what they're doing, the change that they want to make in the world. Who are the people that they want to work with? Why do they want to work with those people? How are they going to make an impact in that person's life? And how is that going to ripple out and help more people? And most people don't approach it that way. They approach it by numbers. Like, we'll get you 50 new followers a month and you get 200 people on your list. I don't care about that, because if you have a small group of people that you can really resonate with and connect with and have meaningful conversation with, whether it's online or offline, that grows from there. And the way that it grows is it grows into this meaningful community, as opposed to just like this big block of numbers. And usually people will come to me after they've made some really expensive bad investments. And I simplify it for them. And then I teach them how to do it. Like, I will stay on and kind of guide them through, but I teach them how to do it, because I think it's really important, particularly with small businesses, to own your voice and to own who you are and to own these relationships. And they're incredibly valuable. I've seen, I mean, even my own life has changed just from connections that I've had with people online. I mean, what we're doing here, none of us have ever met each other. Well, you and Liz have, but
Right. That's true.
we don't know each other. We met online through connections, and we're building something that's bigger than we
Absolutely. And I love what you're saying about your why, right? Like that is something that I always go back to in my business. So what is your why? Why did you choose to do the what you're doing now in your business?
are. I kind of grew into it. When I started my business, none of this existed. I started my business in 2006 as one of the first virtual assistants. And one thing led to another, led to another, led to another. And I was in social media and I loved it. And I, I understood the undercurrent of it and how powerful it was. And when it was used in a different way than I was in early on, so it was a lot of rush, 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 hack and tactic all over the place. And let's see who could make the most noise possible. And that was never my approach. My approach was always, let's step back and see what people are saying first. And then we're going to decide where we're going to have a conversation.
Hmm. I
And
mean, starting in 2006, you were like basically one of the pioneers of this whole online business movement.
yeah.
Yeah, so you really got to see from the start, like where things were going and social media and all that kind of stuff. Did you feel like you were a step ahead of things?
Well, people didn't want what I had for the longest time because they were looking for the next flashy thing, and I was never treating this as something that was flashy. I was taking the 25 years of business experience that I had at that point and saying, how can we take the best of this and combine it with the best of social media? And I started early on with the content and search engine optimization and PR and putting it all together. One of my first clients was a hand model, and she had a line of anti-aging hand care products. And she had like invested the farm in creating these products. She had no money left, and I was doing everything for her. I don't know if you've ever met a hand model, but they don't do much.
No.
And she was paying a PR firm in New York City $5,000 a month, and they got her in all of these magazines, but she wasn't selling anything, and they didn't know how to use social media, so they wanted me to teach them. I was like, no. I said to her, I said, instead of me teaching them social media, why don't we get rid of the PR agency? I'll take all the stuff that they have, and we'll turn this into something else online. And we did. She ended up getting bought out by a big company, and she was on HSN 12 times. She sold out twice. Then she was acquired again by another big company that created an entire line for her on Evine. And all of that came out of me searching hashtags online, getting into conversations about dry hands, really good customer service. And when she did her financials at the end of the year, it was about 8 months after we started working together, and she sold $100,000 worth of hand cream in 8 months with no budget. So I started to think, well, maybe there's something to this. But at the time, nobody else was doing that. So I would start to talk about search engine optimization, and they were like, I don't want to know anything about that. And PR, that's not me. I can't be in the news. But I taught people how to get themselves, into publications that spoke directly to the audiences of people that they wanted to connect with. And their businesses grew in meaningful ways. And what I have gotten through this as I grew this business, it's been about 10 years that I'm doing it now in the way that I do it, is that I want to bring meaning to my work. And I want to work with clients that are leaving some kind of positive footprint in the world.
Is that why you joined the Limitless Collaborative?
Yes, because I don't want to do this alone. And we all bring so much to the table. And I think working with all of us individually and collectively, um, how can you lose?
What do you think is like the biggest reason someone should join the Limitless Collaborative?
I think you get this like band of incredibly smart, generous women that will just help you in every aspect of your life to get rid of the chaos and the clutter and to be able to refocus your time, your energy, your spirit with things that really matter.
I do want to ask one last question, which is you brought up the word meaningful a couple of times, right? Like meaningful, even social interactions, like social media, meaningful social presence for your business, meaning, you want a meaningful interaction with your clients and the people that you serve. Uh, what does that really mean for you? Like, why is having these meaningful conversations so important for us, even as business owners?
Because I think for the most part, most people don't care. And when you care, the end product is meaningful. When people care, when you get a group of people together that care more than most people do, amazing things happen. And I think that with what we have brought together, it's going to have the same effect.